Hi friends, episode 3 of Banging on a Budget. How to have fun playing drums without spending a bunch of money. Previously we've looked at a couple of snare drums in episodes 1 and 2. This is episode 3. I'm going to talk about this kit right here. It's a stencil kit manufactured by Pearl. And they manufactured kits that were knockoffs of American kits back in the 60s and 70s before they started going under their own name, Pearl. Tama was doing the same thing, Hoshino drums at the time. And they've made some decent kits, and this is one of them. It's from '79, so it's a later kit when they switched manufacturing to Taiwan. And still the same template, and still the same kits and same construction, but just a different place of manufacture, and still by Pearl. This kit didn't have a name on it, but everything I could tell from color and things I've seen, and the guy bought it, who owned it before me, bought it. It's a one owner. Bought it at Sears Roebuck in this color. I'm pretty sure it's a Maxin kit, and I've put a Maxin logo on the front head, and it dates to 1979, and I totally refurbished it. This was a fella who just bought himself, he was in his 40s, he was getting back into drums, geek like me, an old geek like me, only a little bit younger, and he had this drum set that had been sitting in a barn for years and years and years, and it was covered with rust, and but he saw some value in it, and I couldn't get him to go below his $150 price, but I got a 5-piece set of drums for $150. I'm playing it as a 4-piece. I got a 5th tom over there. I've got it set up as a 13, 16, 22 for rock and roll, and it's got a chrome over steel snare that came with it, and a nice sounding drum, and I've got it sounding nice, but I happen to score a Yamaha Stage Custom 10 lug chrome over steel drum, 10 lug drum, mint condition for $58. So I've got that teamed up with this right now. This is a 6.5 by 14, so it's a little more rock and roll. And I totally refurbished the drums. We'll talk about that in a second. Let me let you hear what they sound like. And I'm not a drum solo guy, so if you like drum solo guys, Carter McLean, just look him up on YouTube. Carter McLean, super player. He's the guy who plays on Broadway in the Lion King pit band, but he does a bunch of other things. Very artistic, chop, but musical kind of guy. Man, oh man, I just love listening to him. And then there's a guy not so known in the United States, but his name is Steve Hines. He's out of Essex in England, and he posts a bunch of content on YouTube, most of it just him having fun in his studio, and that guy is just killer. So if you're looking for that kind of stuff, there's 2 options: Steve Hines and Carter McLean. Me, not so much. But I want you to be able to hear what these drums sound like, so we'll give it a little whirl. Chad Smith, Steve Smith, Dave Weckel, run for the hills. The old guy's coming after you. Anyway, that's what they sound like. I wish I was a better player so I could really do them justice. But I'm really happy with them. Nice deep toms. I got them down low and fat. Bass drum. Snare drum. Oh, got I think they're killer, and I got 150, let's call it $208 in the kit. It had some hardware. I don't have that hardware sitting with it now, but I could be playing that hardware, just change some stuff out. If you got more than one kit and you've been at this a while, you got stuff around. Okay. Now here's the other thing about this kit. These are Wuhan cymbals. And if you're not familiar with Wuhan is a Chinese company. Chinese have been making cymbals for years and probably predate the Turkish cymbals. They have a little more of a gongy type of sound to them historically, but there was a company 10 or 20 years back that got some of these people in the Wuhan province, like Dream Cymbals and Wuhan Cymbals, to start making Western cymbals. Now these are B20 alloy, the same as Zildjian and Sabian and your other top of the line cymbals, whether it's Meinl or Paiste or what have you, and Istanbul Agap, Bosphorus. There's a lot of good cymbal companies out there, but they're B20. They're machine lathe just like those cymbals are, and they're hand hammered just like those cymbals are. Only difference is they're less than half the price. And you might think, well, they sound different. I don't know if they sound different. I'll tell you, this one here sounds a little Chinesey. But that's not a bad thing, okay? It's just different. They sound really Western to me, and for probably less than $500 all in on all of these cymbals right here versus dropping $2,000 on a set of Istanbul Agap or Zildjian K Constantinople's or something. Man, oh man. You just can't beat it. Banging on a budget, boy, it's very budget friendly, and I like them. I don't know. That's my restored Maxin kit. Love the sound of it. $150 for the kit. $8 for a snare drum. In addition to the one I got with the kit, and a couple of $500 in cymbals. Not a whole lot of money for a lot of sound and a lot of fun. I got to tell you, when I found the kit, it was in a barn for 15 years, covered with rust. Little trick: if you take tin foil and a little soapy water, you can knock rust right off. Use steel wool or something abrasive or a metal wire brush, as people do. You're going to scratch up the chrome and take some of it off, and then really expose yourself to pitting and rust problems. But the crinkling of the foil is just enough texture to take the rust off. But it's metal on metal, and it's aluminum, which is a softer metal, and it doesn't hurt to finish it all. And I took everything apart, took all the lugs off, obviously took the rims and the heads off before I did that, took everything off, washed it off, all the shells, all the wraps. I washed with soap and water, and then I came back in with acrylic car wax and put a couple coats of wax on there. I used some Reso to polish the metal. Soaked all the tension rods in some WD-40, and then used some steel wool because they're not chrome so much, they're nickel or just raw steel, and got those all cleaned up. And then I put white lithium grease on the tension rods, so when they went in, they would go in smoothly, and it helps with the tensioning if all the tension rods feel about the same as they go in and get more tight and so forth. So it helps you with the feel, and you're not going to strip anything out. So threw it back together, and I've been loving this kit ever since. Again, all in, I don't know, $500-600 for a kit that I think sounds absolutely great. Anyway, that's my Maxin kit in my semi-mediocre playing. Hope this was informative. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe. I'm trying to build a channel here and have some people to share experiences with drums and with music with other people. And hopefully it'll be a nice place for drummers to hang out. Talk to you later. Another video coming soon. Bye-bye.